welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Into the Wrestleverse. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, the Marc Cologne. I am here to talk about professional wrestling. That's right. So I was supposed to do the podcast with Chris this week, but yesterday was my son's birthday. Happy birthday to my baby boy. And they just turned 6, man. He's old. But, so we were supposed to, do the podcast this week and stuff. But I got way too much going on. This week we're throwing a birthday party for MJ. Right? We got all these things planned out. We're doing all these things. We've been getting ready for his birthday. Just doing a whole bunch of stuff. Doing that. And, so, even preparing for his birthday, Christmas and all of that. So this week, Chris won't be on. Next week, he should be on. Barring any setbacks, he should be on next week. I plan to get him on. Hopefully, we can get on here. We can talk about it. But yeah, this week, sadly, it's just me. Just because of my schedule, like I'm literally doing this podcast after work. Like I just had to be done. And at first I wasn't gonna do it, but then it's John Cena's last match is coming up. People, we got to talk about it, man. We have to talk about it, and that's what we must do, and that's what we will do. Before we get into the whole Cena situation and everything, I was looking at the Continental Classic, man. I have to say, I love how AEW does the Continental Classic. It's really so good how they do it. I really enjoy every year when they do it, like the way that they set it up, the way that they handle the whole tournament. It's really fun. It's really, really good. And again, me and Chris talked about it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, that once Mercedes would have lost to once she lost to who was it? Once she lost to Chris Statlander, right? That things were gonna look very dire for Mercedes. Because now it's like she's going to lose everything. She's going to lose all the titles, right? Or at least most of them. She's going to lose them, and she's going to have like that a little downfall, right? This is the time now where Mercedes has a downfall, and she's panicking. She doesn't know what exactly to do until, right, she finds herself again, and then she competes for the title once again, and then she finally wins it. Like, I feel like that's exactly the plan that they're going with. And I love it. I love that they're just not, like, they didn't fold and give her the title because she has all of these titles. Like, no, when she wins that title, she should have no titles. She should have overcome adversity, right? Like, you're telling a story right now where she lost to Tony. She couldn't beat Tony. And she couldn't beat Chris Statlander. Right? So you're telling that story. And it's honestly, it's a beautiful story. It's about overcoming what you have not been able to overcome. Right? Like, she's been a world champion in all these other promotions. She's won titles in all these other promotions. Yes, she was TBS champion. Like, yes, we get that. But she has not been AEW Women's World Champion. And that's the one that is going to send her over the edge because it's the one that she wants so badly. And I really, really love the kind of, the story that they're doing with that whole situation. I really do. I think it's a very good story that they're telling and that they're able to tell. And I can't wait to see what else they do with that. It's a really good story, man. I know some listeners might not be AEW oriented. Man, take some time, watch it. Man, I think if people had more open minds, you would enjoy more of the product, like TNA, right, and all these other promotions. Like you gotta be open. You gotta be open minded to these things, man. But Mercedes, I can't wait to see what else happens in the story that they're trying to tell with her. That's really a really good story that they're telling right now, right? Same thing with kind of like John Moxley and the Death Riders. John Moxley can't really do anything right now. Can't catch a win. Can't catch a break from any of his rivals. He'd have better luck catching a cold, basically. Like it's just not working right now for John. And yeah, he's gonna win some, obviously, because he's in the Continental Classic and stuff like that. He's gotta win eventually. But like, I think the Death Riders are getting ready to send him on his way packing, and that's going to be another interesting story once that happens. Swerve, Hangman, they're doing their thing. We've seen the match between Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston. I thought was very, very good. I really, really liked it. I loved it. Samoa Joe is doing. Again, me and Chris talked about it on the last pod. Something that I don't think many were expecting, at least us. I don't think we were expecting to see Samoa Joe dethrone Hangman. But he did. He dethroned him. And now, he's riding in the sunset once again as the AEW World Champion. And it's going to be really interesting to see how AEW does and what they do to capitalize off of this. Man, this is what AEW has right now with some of these stars, like especially like Kyle Fletcher is so good. My goodness, like they have an opportunity to do some really good stuff, and they have to continue. They have to continue to ride the wave and continue to do what they're doing, and I'm really enjoying it. I've seen Zeta Steele. She appeared on AEW, I think Ring of Honor, I want to say. It might have been, I want to say it was Ring of Honor. She had left the WWE ID program. And good for AEW. Good for them picking her up. I don't think she's signed just yet. But obviously it's kind of like all right, you can come work with us without a deal for now. Prove it that you deserve one. And then we can talk about if you'll get an AEW deal. I think that's very good. I think they're how they're doing it is very solid. I cannot wait to kind of see like what happens in the future for her and for the AEW partnership. That's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see. AEW's just doing a lot of good stuff right now. Just like WWE, they're doing the good stuff in their own way. Look, I'm very critical. I can be very critical of WWE. I used to be very critical of AEW as well. But I feel like AEW has gotten better. They're starting to do a lot of better things. And now it's funny because anytime one company is doing very well, the other one for some reason just they struggle a bit, but and that's where kind of WWE is right now, and it's not that like it's not necessarily like terrible, where it's like like it's not 2019, 2018, 2020 again. Like it's nothing like that. It's more of just like, dude, like you have the ammo, you have the wrestlers, the product, you have all of that. You just got to put it to work, right? And that's something that WWE is just failing to capitalize on. And I don't think, I was talking to Bobby the other day, and I've talked to Chris about this too. It's not necessarily WWE's fault or Triple H's fault. Like, I know everybody wants to put the blame on them, but we have to look at the bigger picture when it comes to this stuff. And I feel like it just has to do more with the partnership with TKO than anything else. Like, I think the partnership with TKO really, as a money grab, it was great. As a partnership, yeah, it was great. But I don't think they really understand what the fans want and what the product needs, and and that's where they're kind of at right now. Maybe that could get fixed. I think it necessarily. I honestly think it could. It's going to take some time, and maybe we're just in a kind of a stalemate right now, where it's just like, sure, we might not be enjoying the product right now, but it's not necessarily as bad as we think it is, right? That can be a whole nother situation too, where it's just like, yeah, we see it this way, but it's actually a whole nother way. They're just getting ready, right? Maybe Cena's retirement tour as well is kind of like taking a toll on everybody as well, because like maybe that's just what everybody is focused on right now, Cena's retirement tour. Maybe once that's over, maybe we could get back to some type of normal, maybe, right? Like I don't want to jinx anything, but I mean, the good thing is, once Cena's retirement thing is done, we're on the road to the Royal Rumble. We are on the road to the Elimination Chamber. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Like, and maybe that's just what we need. We just need to get on the road to those things, and maybe that will kind of change our outlook on things. Maybe things will be better. I still stand by that WWE needs to start building other talent, like younger talent. You know what I mean? Like, you have to build your young stars. You just have to. You can't live in a world or live in a life where you're just building off of the older guys, or wanting the older guys to, just for moments. You know what I mean? Like, eventually, like, you have to, like, okay, it's been fun, but let's give some of these other guys their moments, right? And they necessarily don't have to be the youngest. Like, they, like the LA Knights, like I eventually think he's going to be a world champion in WWE. I know there has been some contract talks of possibly becoming a free agent. I know that's a big talk right now going on after he had gotten taken out by the Vision. So that's something to look at, look forward kind of to see. Well, is LA Nate done? Is his contract done, or is this just blowing smoke? Right? I if you ask me, I don't know. This is something I try to stay away from that, just because, like, man, I'd rather just, man, let's wait and see. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more of a guy that likes to, like, let's wait and see what happens. I really don't want to be in the prediction of contracts and stuff like that. Now, if you become a free agent, yeah, we're gonna, or if you become a free agent, yeah, we're gonna predict that. We're gonna predict where you're gonna go next. If you're gonna stay with the company you just became a free agent of, or or if you're going to go somewhere else. Like, yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. But if we're talking from like a standpoint of like I know we've done it a few times. Like, oh, if Finn Balor were to become a free agent, AJ Styles, like those guys, yeah, because we understand like, and yeah, that's true. LA Knight is towards the tail end. Well, we would think he'd be at the tail end of his career because he's in his 40s, right? So it's like, yeah, there's a potential of like, do I want to stay here? Am I going to progress, or do I maybe want to take my talent somewhere else in another company and see what happens, right? And I honestly, and I know they have a Orange Cassidy, right? Like I know they have like those type of wrestlers over there in AEW. But I don't know if necessarily LA Knight would fit the moniker in AEW. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't. Um, and again, this is something we're just going to have to kind of, wait it out, kind of see what happens with him. If his contract is indeed up, I would say he stays in WWE. I just don't see him being like an AEW guy. Now, sure, that it could happen. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible or it's not gonna happen. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. I actually think it could be very, very possible that it could happen, but I just, as of right now, I just don't see it happening. But again, we'll have to, wait and see. We'll find out as the as time goes by. We'll see what LA Knight's next move is. As far as the tournament goes, the tournament was all right. The Cena's the last time is now tournament. It was okay. I know a lot of people have, their mixed reactions about it, especially with Gunther winning it. Look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I didn't think it should have been Gunther, but I don't make the decisions, right? I'm not the guy that puts pencil to paper and is gonna be like, okay, well, this is who should have won it. Like, that's not me. I'm not that guy. I'm just a guy on a podcast that gives his opinion about stuff. I would have loved for it to have been like, dude, I don't know, like a who can we throw? Carmelo Hayes. That's who I actually really wanted to win it. Carmelo does resemble like a early career John Cena, so I definitely wouldn't have mind Carmelo Hayes. That's what I'm talking about. Carmelo Hayes, even LA Knight, I wouldn't have minded it because I feel like he would have gotten something from it. Like with Gunther, he's a former world champion, former intercontinental champion. I mean, both reigns are very, very long. So you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, LA Knight. LA Knight hasn't reached that mountaintop. You know what I mean? And sure, we can pick and choose, or we can say this or that, but like, I honestly, I wouldn't have minded if LA Knight won. Not the biggest fan of him. We all know that, but I wouldn't have minded it because I feel like that's somebody that definitely could have used it. But now that he's obviously out and he didn't win it and Gunther won it, this is something to look at. And you go one or two ways. Either Cena's going to win, he's going to defeat Gunther, and he's going to ride into the sunset with us crying and him winning his last match, or Gunther is going to beat him. And Gunther is going to say, I've beaten Goldberg, I've beaten Cena. I've retired them both, basically. There is rumored that a specific somebody is going to retire next year. And if Gunther defeats John Cena, I see exactly where this is going. Because what Gunther is becoming is like the modern day legend killer or legend retiree, where he's just retiring every legend. And honestly, I don't really have an issue with that. Like, if Gunther is just, taking out the trash and like, hey, you're on a retirement tour? You want one last match? Come here. I got something for you. You know what I mean? And it works out perfectly because people are just like, oh, okay, like, that's cool, I guess. Right? You know what I mean? And people are just going to be like, oh, but wait, this doesn't make sense or whatever. And it's like, well, it kind of does. Because that's who Gunther is. Like, Gunther is this guy that, he's not your average guy. Like, he's not going to please the crowd. He's going to please himself. And he's going to retire Goldberg. And possibly now he's going to retire John Cena. And what better way for next year, Minneapolis, for Gunther to retire the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. The dream match that we've been wanting for a few years already. We're finally going to get. But we're not going to get it anytime soon. Oh, no. These two guys are going to stay away from each other as much as possible. Maybe we get a little tease at the Rumble if both men are in the Rumble at the same time. And WWE even then might be like, no, we're not going to tease this yet. Just not yet. But there's going to be a time where WWE teases it. And it's going to click in everybody's mind. This is the guy that is going to retire. Brock Lesnar. This is the guy who, while retiring Brock Lesnar, will reach a new level of immortality. And maybe he has his moment where he main events WrestleMania in a year or two. Whenever he retires Brock Lesnar. Whether that's at WrestleMania or whether that's at or whether it's after he retires Brock, doesn't matter. But there's gonna come a time where Gunther will retire the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Because I feel like that's really the only person that can really do that. There's not many other people that you can put Brock with and you can say, that makes sense. No, I think Gunther has to be that guy, especially if you're going to be doing him how you've been doing him. He has to be that guy. He has to be the guy that ends Brock Lesnar. And then, if it's that year or the year after, he has to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania and have his WrestleMania moment. Whoever it is, whoever the champion is at that moment, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't care. The fact is, when it's time to go to bed and we're about to turn off our TVs, Gunther is holding up the World Heavyweight Championship after retiring Brock Lesnar, winning the Royal Rumble, main eventing WrestleMania, and defeating whoever the champion is, defeating them to become immortal and just have his moment. Because he's had moments, but Gunther hasn't had the moment yet. And that's what they might be setting up. He's lost to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. He's lost to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. They opened up WrestleMania with those two. and he lost. Gunther's going to get his moment. He almost won WrestleManias. Royal Rumbles. But he fell short. That's in the back of his head. And I promise you, somebody eventually will remind Gunther, hey, you think you're big and bad while you're retiring people that should probably be in an old folks home. My God. And you haven't done this, that, or snacks. You know, and he's going to be like, you're right. You know, the fans are going to be like, you're right. You know who else is going to say you're right? You want to know who else? Do you really? Gunther. The fans will say it. The commentators will say it. The people backstage will say it. But Gunther as well is going to be like, man, you're right. I haven't done that, but I'm about to. And at your expense for pointing that out, you're going to be my victim. And Gunther's just going to... I think, too, for Brock, we're going to see a different side of Gunther. We're going to see a vulnerable Gunther, but we're going to see a Gunther that is more vicious than ever. Because he knows if he can kill the beast, there's nobody that can stand in his way. This is like Roman defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. This is like Brock Lesnar defeating Undertaker. Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. It's you're building your star. You're building the next guy. Right? And this is what we want. This is, you know, it might not be the guy that we want, but Gunther doesn't care what you want. All Gunther cares about is what he wants. And he wants to be immortal. But he hasn't reached that yet. Think about his world title run. How did he win it? With help. He had help from Finn Balor. So do you think that sits well with Gunther? No, that eats him up inside. It also eats him up that he lost to a person like Sami Zayn. Like he lost to a person like Jey Uso. Like, that does not sit well with Gunther at all. Like, he is ready to get his licks back. He is ready to show the world who Gunther really is. And there's going to come a time where we're going to see a different side of Gunther, and we're going to forget about the Cena tour. We're going to forget about all these other things, because we're going to say to ourselves, oh my goodness, I forgot. He retired Goldberg. He retired John Cena. And now he just retired Brock Lesnar. Oh my God. Like, we're going to be at such a magnitude of, like, oh my gods, that people are going to be like, okay, dude, like, we get it. Calm down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, calm down already. But, like, Gunther's going to reach another level. You could tell. It's kind of like with Braun Breaker as well. Like, Braun's also on that level of, like, when his time comes, his time comes. And that time is going to come where he faces Seth. He beats Seth. He faces CM Punk. He beats CM Punk. And then he gets the big one. He faces Roman Reigns. And he beats Roman Reigns. There's a reason that match has not happened yet. It's because that's That's like The Undertaker. That's like Brock and Undertaker. Braun Breaker's meal ticket is Roman Reigns. That's how you know a star will be made. When Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns face off at WrestleMania. Now, it's not going to be this year's WrestleMania. It might not even be next year's. But for a guarantee, the year after, I could see it happening. But it's not going to be like this year. It's definitely not happening this year. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, no. It ain't. Mm-mm. And where's Randy Orton? Over here doing YouTube channels and stuff like that. Randy, we need you back. People, don't worry. I know that's what everybody is everybody's worried about right now. It's like, where's Randy? He'll be back. Oh yeah, beginning of the year, Randy Orton will be back. Randy will be back. But yeah, what they're gonna do with Gunther now, man, it's gonna be special. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but the more I listen to other people, and I really thought about it, I had to like sit down and be like, yo, this person's right. And until you do that, you're never going to be satisfied with this. You're never going to be happy with this. Sometimes our favorites might not get the shot. Sometimes our favorites might not be the ones at the very moment. But the LA Knights of the world, the Javon Evans of the world, the Carmelo Hayes of the world, they're going to get their moments. I hope Carmelo Hayes gets his moment. Because I think he has a very bright future. I think he's very talented. But there's going to come a time where we're just saying to ourselves, man, like, I knew it. You know what I mean? And we just got to be patient. We got to be steady. We got to be patient with it, man. Let's not rush things that shouldn't be rushed. Let's just enjoy the moments, take them all in, and enjoy them for what they are. John Cena is about to never wrestle ever again. Ever again, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in. What that never again means. That means we potentially may never see John Cena and George ever again. And that might be a good thing. I mean, that's probably a fantastic thing for a lot of people. But not for me. I am heartbroken. I watched the tribute video everybody did. You know, they had Brock did the "I Can See You," you know, Roman, "Thank You, John," you know, all those things. And it was just, you know, I teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I teared up a little bit because John Cena was in my era, right? Like, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had Cena, you had Batista, like Orton, right? Like, Orton's still here, but he's really not here. Like, Randy doesn't really wrestle or show up as often as we would like, right? But this year we've had Cena. And Now it's basically it's done. It's over. John Cena's run is right at the end. And it sucks, absolutely. But it only sucks if you don't enjoy the moments. If you're not enjoying the nows, right? And I mean, even if you're enjoying the nows, this last match that he's about to have with Gunther, I think it's going to be very good. I think it can be very, very entertaining. There's supposed to be a lot of good stuff, some surprises and stuff like that, whatever that means. Um, I'm just going to say to you guys, just enjoy it, take it all in, because after Saturday night, there's no more of that John Cena. And we just have to enjoy this moment, this last moment. Win, lose, or draw, whatever happens with John, it's his moment. Even if Gunther wins, yes, Gunther beat him. It was Gunther's moment, but at the end of the day, this is John's moment. This is John is saying goodbye. You know what I mean? And me, I'm not ready for it. I know you aren't ready for it, but we gotta say goodbye, people. We do. And honestly, that sucks. It really does. It sucks, dude, because it just, I don't know how my emotions would be or how I'm going to react. But let's just enjoy the moment. Because that's all we really can do, is just enjoy these moments. All right. Now, like I said, I know a lot of people are saying surprises or whatever, stuff like that. I know people are pitching like The Rock showing up and stuff like that. Look, I don't care about none of that. If The Rock shows up, obviously I care about it. I'm gonna be hyped. I'm gonna be stoked, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up. It would be cool because then maybe we get one last match from John, but I'm not expecting us to get one last match from John Cena. But for Saturday night's main event, there's 4 matches. So you got Bayley versus Soruka, singles match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. You have Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE Champion, versus Obafemi for the NXT Champion versus Champion, non-title. And you have John Cena versus Gunther, right? And John Cena's last match ever. So this is very interesting. It's very telling. Because we have a situation now where we want to guess, or we kind of want to kind of predict what's going to happen, right? Like, okay, is John actually going to retire, right? Is he actually going to hang up the jorts, as one would say? Yes, I think it's actually going to happen. This is very interesting, though. Very, very interesting. I think it's great what they're doing adding Obafemi, right? NXT, Soruka, NXT, Javon Evans, Leon Slater, NXT, TNA. I think AJ and Dragon Lee retain. I would love to see Javon and Leon get the win, but I just don't think that happens. Before AJ Styles retire, I would love to see AJ Styles versus Javon Evans in a singles big time match. But AJ Styles, Dragon Lee win. Bailey versus Soruka. I'm going to go Bailey, but I feel like NXT needs to win one. But I'm going to go Bailey. Because you got Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi. I feel like if Soruka doesn't win, Obafemi has to win. He has to win. It's a non-title match, champion versus champion. You don't want to. You have to make the result look. Whoever wins that one, between Cody and Oba, you have to make it look that neither man looks weak. You know what I mean? So they have to be very unique with that. They have to be very smart with that, and we'll see what happens there. And then John Cena versus Gunther, Cena's retirement match. I think Gunther gets the win over Cena. I think it's just bound to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's going to happen. Like I don't think anybody is sitting here and saying to themselves like, oh no, Cena's gonna win. I think the way if they're going about the way about the way that I think they will, where he's gonna retire Cena, then Gunther, and then he's gonna have this then we really enter the era of Gunther where he just dominates in every single aspect and fashion of WWE. Then yeah, Gunther wins. If not, if this is just like no, Cena's just gonna go out on his high horse, he's gonna beat Gunther, then Gunther might take a different route. Which I don't know what that route would be. But we'll see on Saturday. Some other stuff. NXT deadline did happen. We've seen Obafemi defeat Ricky Saints. We've also seen Ricky Saints turn heel this week. But Oba did defeat Saints to become champion. After the match, we've seen the return of Mr. One. I don't know if y'all ready for this. I just don't know. We've seen the return of D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo. Very interesting. I like the Tony D'Angelo that return. Maybe this is a more kind of serious Tony D'Angelo. I don't know what to kind of expect from this or what we kind of can gain from this. It's kind of something we're just going to have to wait and see. But it's definitely, it should be interesting. It should be interesting to kind of see what happens, with that. Also see Kendall Gray, but I did like his his presentation and everything. It kind of didn't feel like he didn't feel like a gimmick or a comedy act anymore. Felt like, okay, this is the real Tony D'Angelo. You know what I mean? And we'll see what he's able to do. He's might be going after Oba. I would assume that's who he's going after. He defeated Oba. So I believe the first man to defeat Oba. So it'll be interesting to see if that's who he's going after or if he's going after somebody else. Kendall Gray did win. She won the Women's Iron Survivor match. We also seen Ethan Page defeat Mr. Iguana. We've seen Izzy Dame defeat Paxley. We've seen Javon Evans won the men's Iron Survivor match, which he got screwed again. Ricky Saints turned heel. He screwed Devon. But overall, I thought it was a very good pay per view. I thought, they had a surprise. They had they had a few surprises. Really, they really did their thing with this NXT pay per view. I really liked what I seen from NXT and what they were able to do. And last thing we'll talk about, the Masked Man made his return on Raw, where he attacked Rey Mysterio, he attacked LA Knight. So this one, obviously it was a different Masked Man. I know some people are like, oh, maybe there's 2 new members instead of 1, or maybe there is just 1. But WWE's trying to, swerve a lot of people right now. Man, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know. I don't know what to kind of like expect or say. I know there's a lot of names out there right now. There's a whole bunch of names out there right now that are kind of like the hot meal tickets, right? Like Montez Ford, Austin Theory. I think both men have very bright futures, and they 100% could benefit from being the Masked Man and being in division. I just don't know if those are the guys, right? Like I don't. It kind of makes it a little too obvious, and I wonder if WWE wants to play the obvious game. Another thing that can be taken into consideration, into count, would be what if they're just throwing things out there, right? They have somebody else under this mask, and then it's somebody else completely, somebody we're not even thinking about, right? And it's just like, oh wow, we didn't even think about that. It could be that person. You know what I mean? Like, we could see a situation like that where we're just thinking it's this person or this said person, and when you come out and find out, it's actually somebody else completely different. So it's going to be interesting to definitely see, whenever the Masked Man is revealed, which I also want to talk about, because, that's another thing too. Now it's like, okay, so the Masked Man is not going to be revealed, in my opinion, not anytime soon, and especially not on just any given Monday, right? Like, if we really want to get into details and stuff, what if it's Seth Rollins? Right? But let's say it's Seth, but he's not really helping the division. He's just attacking anybody that gets close to the vision until he's fully healthy, and he wants the vision to himself. He wants to take out the vision for himself. You know what I mean? Like that could be a whole nother entire situation, right? Where it's like, okay, they got a little bit creative with this, right? It could be said, maybe, just maybe, hear me out now, it could be Chris Jericho. You see, that's the thing. People forget, like, it doesn't have, the person under the mask does not have to be the person under the mask when he reveals himself. That is the beauty of professional wrestling. Because, if we're talking about the guy that under the mask that scaled up the cage at War Games, that was like Montez Fordish, Austin Theory, possibly. Even though I think maybe Montez, because Montez is really fast. But I don't know. I don't know exactly who it could have been. You know what I mean? Like, it's very difficult with these things because, again, there's the Jerichos, there's the Theories, the Fords. I mean, we could throw so many names out there. I've heard Ricky Saints, and now that he turned heel, I mean, could it be possible that Ricky Saints was the one? Could it be possible that this is the way that they call up Ricky Saints? By having him join the Vision. In all honesty, I'm going to be real with you guys. I would 100% do it. If there's anybody I would want to join the Vision, because you got to make it make sense too. Like, why are you joining the Vision? What's the vision that you see for yourself in this faction? What is it? You got to tell a story. Could it be Ricky? Ricky has a very compelling story. Especially after the first person he attacked was CM Punk, who he used to work with in AEW. There's a story there. Austin Theory. There's a story though. Montez Ford, what would be the story? And is he going to eventually turn on Angelo Dawkins? Or are they just not going to address it? You know what I mean? So there's so many things you have to take into account with layers, unless this person's just going to join the Vision and not even address what we all want to be addressed, which is tell us a story, tell us something. Why are you joining the Vision? Chris Jericho, I can see from a standpoint of you got some veteran presence, but you have Brock, right? I don't think he's more like an honorary Oos, right? Like he's the honorary Oos for the Vision, right? Like he's not. I don't think he's necessarily like in the Vision, but whenever Paul Heyman needs him, he can just give him a call and Brock will show up for the Vision. You know what I mean? I think that's more of that relationship there. So maybe Chris Jericho, but again, you have Paul Heyman. So do you really need a veteran presence, like as far as a wrestler goes? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think you need that veteran presence. Which is perfectly fine. Build up these young guys. Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to see who else could we potentially, like, kind of throw out there that we're saying, okay, that makes sense. Seth would be one. But I just don't see Seth doing another one of those situations. You know what I mean? I don't see it working out that way. Now, it could happen. WWE very well could play us once again and say, got you again. We got you again. Could it be, again, Ricky Saints, he's from NXT. Could it be somebody else from NXT? Could possibly be. Could possibly be. Maybe that's where Tony D'Angelo comes in. Maybe it's Tony D'Angelo. I don't think so. I'm trying to see. I don't. I'm trying to see. Uh, you know, it wouldn't be like Drew McIntyre was in the War Games match, so it wouldn't be Drew McIntyre. Um, what if it was like Carmelo Hayes, right? Like, I wonder what everybody's thought process would be on that. If it was Carmelo Hayes, what would everybody think about that? You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, I think if it's like a young talent, then I feel like it needs to be a young talent. When you look at, you got Logan, you got Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, you do have in your back pocket Brock Lesnar. He's not young, but he's like the honorary Uce. Um, I have another one. Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn. Now, again, I don't think those are the people that were under those masks. But could it be revealed that, like, hey, it's me? It could be, but I don't think those are the guys. But if you see, the thing is, like, I want to say Austin Theory. I really do, guys. But I think us fans, even if it wasn't him, we've made it too obvious that WWE might say, I don't know. Or, and if it is him and they continue to go with that route, they're going to make sure that the moment isn't too low, that like everybody's like, oh, we knew it. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to add a little spice to it. They're not just going to be like, well, you know what I mean? Like, well, okay, the fans knew, let's just reveal them and that's it. No, they're gonna add some spice to it. There's gonna be a little something to go along with it. But man, it's gonna be really interesting, to kind of see, how this all plays out. I'm very interested for it to see who is actually under the mask. Like, yeah, it might seem obvious to many, but like if you really dial it back and dial it down, like whoever's under that mask, I mean, it can be anybody. It really can. It can be anybody, and I mean, who knows? Maybe it's somebody that we're not even thinking about, or that we don't know is signed with WWE, and WWE just has them in the chamber, just waiting for their moment. You know what I mean? And these are things as wrestling fans we just have to think about. We have to look at. We have to analyze. The first guy. So when the guy came out of War Games, I was like, at first I was like, oh. Like, if his contract was up and he was a free agent, the first person that would have came to my mind would have been Buddy Matthews. But obviously, that's not going to happen. He's very locked in with AEW. He's actually recovering from an injury. So, you're definitely not doing that. But that I definitely thought about that. I was like, Buddy Matthews. You know what I mean? But, I thought about Austin Theory as well. And I like that, what WWE is doing is they're keeping everybody on the edge. They're like, you got to tune in every week to see what happens next. We are not revealing this until we are completely ready and until the story really needs it. And I could look at, I would say the first week, they do that special Raw in the beginning of the year. I'll say you could do it then. I'll also say you can also do it you could do it at the Rumble, at the Chamber. I don't think they're gonna make it all the way to the Chamber, but I think they're thinking Rumble or the big show at the first week, the big show they do for Raw, which would be the first week of January. So I think that's when they'll probably do it. They're also, I would assume they're waiting for Punk to return, because that story has to do with him, which Ron Breaker has done an amazing job of carrying the story while, Punk has been gone for some time. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I cannot wait to see. And if Chris Jericho returns, right? That's another big thing going on right now. Does Chris Jericho return? So for me, I feel like he could return Saturday for John's, if he, I don't know what his contract situation is. But if it's up and done, I would say he returns for John Cena. Not to go after him or anything, but more to celebrate him. Or I'm saying the big Raw show that they do at the beginning of January, or the Rumble. No later than the Rumble. I think by the Rumble, Chris Jericho should be. By the end of the night of the Royal Rumble, Chris Jericho should have already returned, or unless he returns at the end of the Rumble. But yeah, you are not milking this all the way to WrestleMania with the Masked Man or Jericho, because at that point everybody's gonna be like, okay, we know Jericho's returning to WWE if he hasn't shown up anywhere at by WrestleMania. But I don't think they wait that long. I think Jericho, I think he even said it, he's gonna be by early 2026. He should be back wrestling. So I would assume to see Jericho probably at the Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised I wouldn't be surprised to see him tomorrow. Or what's the first week of January, the big show that they do. Or the Rumble. So yeah, that's all I have for this show. I'm surprised that we made it an hour. I didn't have much to really talk about. I just wanted to center around those things, but it was a really good TED Talk. Nah, it's a really good talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Next week, hopefully I get Chris on this podcast so we can talk about what happened in the Cena retirement match and all the other things and stuff like that. Can't wait to talk to you guys about that. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And until next time, goodbye.